And it didn't get it didn't really get any easier because Munch's Oddysee, I have never worked in a game, and I've made a decent number of games in my 20 years. That's the roughest game I've ever made because that entire game, as you saw it on, when it launched with the Xbox, original Xbox, was basically made in one summer. So we're telling I'll tell you behind the scenes story. We're telling the stories here. So when I got there, they did not really have a solid idea of what Munch was going to be. It was like they had all this amazing artwork, but like, what is the game? How is it going to work? I don't think they had quite that. They hadn't really figured it out.
Right.
But the company was very visual, which is understandable, because it's an easy thing to grasp, make it visual. So what they were having, the level artists were doing was they were just building these awesome sets that were gorgeous. They weren't finished, but like they were finished. They had beautiful lighting and modeling and just fantastic stuff. I remember like flying through these in 3D Studio Max and like, I can't remember what the engine they used. Netimers, I think was the engine. Does that even ring a bell? I think we're so far past it now that no one remembers.
I don't know. That's funny.
It's ancient history, Netimers. So anyway, I was flying around in Netimers. I'm like, man, these levels are amazing, but like, what do you do? What's the gameplay? And that's the thing is, there was this disconnect where like they were building these awesome sets, and then when the game designers finally had some ideas, I understood it. But bear in mind, like a game designer from Munch's Oddysee might come in and say like he doesn't know what he's talking about. Right. This is my perception. Was that how are we going to put gameplay in here? Because these spaces aren't built for a 3D camera. They're not built for a character. They're just made to look cool. And so it was clear that, okay, all these pieces we have to find a way to connect it. And one of the artists there, who's an amazing artist, he's the art director now at Hyman Studios, Ivan Power. And another amazing artist, Mark Allen. They're the two powerhouses. They're like my mentors there. And those guys, they cooked up this like, all right, we have to basically remake this entire game in the summer. So what those two did is they put together, and it's not common practice in games, but at the time it was all new for me. They put together like a level kit that we can snap all these spaces together for all these different themes, indoor, outdoor, wherever you needed, so that you could build levels really quick. Now it's not going to be the same level of like super like cinematic detail you're going to get with what they had made before, but it's going to look awesome still because they're awesome artists, and it's going to play great because the surfaces will all work great for cameras and characters, what have you. So using that stuff, those kits, like I focus entirely on the exterior levels for that game. So I had this kit of like clips and tiles and what have you, and trees and all that stuff, and still had to build plenty of custom stuff. But for the most part, you had this kit that you could reuse. Okay. And in 3 months, we built that entire game from scratch.
Oh my god!
And that was the hardest I've ever crunched. At one point, I broke down in tears in the middle of it. I'm like, I don't know if I want to work here anymore. I don't know if I made it. I don't know if I'm like cut out for games. Like it was so rough. It was it kicked my booty, man. That was a real rough experience. And then after it was over, and we're telling stories now, it's been long enough. Did you ever hear anything about the layoff they had there?
After that? No, not that one. No.
So yeah, I hope it's so long. I hope I don't get in trouble. Is this a thing that happened?
I mean,
so after Munch shipped, right? It was like, yeah, it's a thing. It would launch for the Xbox, and which was a cool experience to be like go into GameStop and see a big banner, right? Munch's Oddysee, like, oh hey, yeah, no one played it, but still. But they unfortunately had a layoff for reasons I actually don't really know. They cut the company down quite a bit, and I obviously survived the cut. And I remember being like, "Whoa, this is intense." That was my first. That was actually my only true blue honest experience with that kind of thing of like having the big layoff and like just just making it.
Yeah.
And then and then that's when we entered that sort of interesting wilderness, the journey to Stranger.
Right.